What's going on, guys? This is Lasha over there. What's going on, Lash?
What's up, man?
Pablo. What's going on, Pablo? What's up, Pablo? I'm good.
What
Yo,
up, man?
you. What's up, man? You know, just fucking around. But
These West Coast games make it hard for us to stay up and watch the whole game.
yeah, turns
Both of
this
our
around
teams are
too.
on the West Coast.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up. A lot of I'm gonna watch the game, but that's not really happening. You try, you fall asleep, you wake up, you're like, oh my god, what happened?
Did they win?
Did they win? You have to check. You run to your phone. Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh my god!
Yeah,
Yes, they
and then you go
won.
back to sleep.
Yes. And then you go to sleep. And then you figure out what happened. You watch the video.
Yep.
You go straight to the video. But, this is what's happening right now. And, it sucks because it's really good series, too.
Yeah.
But we're going
It,
to talk about that stuff in a second. We're going to talk about all that good stuff, especially with you. I want to hear everything. Today, it's like, let's dissect Lasha and why he loves this team and what's the next move for you guys. There's a lot of stuff going on. All right, in a good way and a bad way. But today's episode, we're gonna enlighten you guys. Lasha loves this. So do I. So once again, we're gonna bring this back. We've spoken about this in the past, and we're gonna bring it back today because it's part of what's happening right now. So the name of the episode is "I didn't realize I was tapping my helmet." And what are we talking about, Lash?
so in the Tampa Bay game, I think it was about the either near the end of the game.
Yeah, it was the ninth, I believe.
Ninth inning,
Yeah,
shortstop Taylor Walls of the Rays was at bat, and the umpire called a really bad pitch. It looked like a ball. He called it a strike. Walls didn't like it, so he voiced his opinion about it.
by
The ref
tapping his
said,
helmet, by tapping
by
his
tapping
helmet.
his helmet, the ref said, just get back in there and play. And then I think he might have tapped it again. And then the ump got sensitive and just tossed him
All right, and you would
in
wonder
the game
why.
against the Astros.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it cost him the game too. It was the top of the ninth, so it's
Yeah,
like the
they
last.
were losing anyway. Yeah,
They were
but
losing, but still, there was their last chance. But the
yeah,
problem throughout this year so far, is a lot of missed calls by these umpires, pitches way out of the zone, and in the minor league system, they're doing the automatic balls and strike challenging system,
yeah, the ABS
where
system. Yeah.
yeah, where if a ball is if a pitch is considered a ball, they can go to the system where they show a replay on the jumbotron, like they do on the game day app on the app, and it shows you exactly where the ball was located. And so it's really quick, takes like 2 seconds, and then they realize, okay, the umpire was wrong, and they change the count either to 2-1 or 1-2 or whatever the count may be. Now that's
Exactly.
just a trial run they're doing in the minor leagues. Seems to be working. I don't know. I went to a
Yeah,
game
yeah.
last year, uh, Gwinnett Stripers here in Atlanta, and it seems to work. It was pretty cool. It's fast. I'm all for it.
Same here.
Uh,
You
but
can
a lot of
challenge a
people might
strike.
be against it. Yeah.
Nah, you can challenge strikes and balls. I like it. I like it because sometimes. So this is what happens. So this guy's like tap tap, which is the universal way of doing it when you have the ABS system in play. So it's a form of disrespect, for these umps because there's no way of challenging that in the MLB. So when you tap tap, it's like, hey, that was bullshit. You don't know what the hell you're doing. That was a strike. That was a ball. You know what I'm saying? So basically, they're challenging the ump. And no, they don't like it. So that's why he got tossed. And now everybody knows that the reason why this is happening is because of the ABS system. And the guy's claiming, nah, that's not what I was doing. But I think he knows what he was doing. He was protesting with the ump called. It's okay, though. It's okay. soon we won't have to worry about stuff like that, you know. But
Yeah, no, but they need to challenge it, man. I would like to know what the percentage of missed calls are this year, because if that was a situation where if it was like bases loaded and there's like two outs, and maybe they're down by one run, that makes a big difference, because
yeah,
if you walk in that guy, all right, if you walk walls, that's a run. It could be a tie game now. Also, just think about it, the implications it could have if it was a playoff game. It's a regular season game, so it doesn't mean much. But if that's a regular season game, what are you gonna do in the postseason? Well, if you have a situation like that, you're not gonna be able to challenge the balls and strikes. And you can leave it to the discretion of the umps. Umps are human beings; they make mistakes.
of course, I agree.
Nowadays with this technology, you know, they're able to crunch numbers and tell you what's going on. So why not use a system? Why not use technology to your advantage if it's gonna make the game a little bit more accurate, And it's gonna lead. But the problem is with people who say, well, then if you do that, what's the point of having umpires? You can take the feeling. You just make it a robotic game, which is true. I agree. I think you should still have umpires, but you can still check you know, their call. There's nothing wrong with that. You already check replay on a play on a bang bang play at first. What's the difference? The only difference is it's not a ball's not in action.
Yeah.
The difference is no one. So I'm all for it. Was it disrespectful? No. Maybe it was Taylor Wall's wing of trying to give the umpire the middle finger without giving the middle finger to the umpire. But or yelling at the umpire, expressing his displeasure. So he felt like, well, let's be the discreet way of doing this, and we'll just tap my head on the helmet, basically saying, hey, just to know it in the future, Mister Umpire, this is what's gonna happen. I hope you're ready. Here's a preview of what it's gonna be like when players don't agree with your call. We're just gonna tap our helmet, and you're gonna know what to do.
No, it's okay though, because then after that they look and they, like you said, everybody's human. Sometimes it's really hard. It's a bang bang play. You can't really tell what's going on. It's going so fast. You know, and they get it right for the most part. But in situations where you disagree, you have the choice to voice your opinion. Say, hold on, let's take a look at that. I'm not happy with that. I agree. It's okay. You can do it if you have to. But for the most part, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna run it right. It's gonna tell us exactly what we need to see and hear. You know.
Yeah,
But let's get it to
Mister
wait.
Holmes.
No, let's not. Let's not talk about Mr. Holmes right now. Let's not. Let's talk about. We're not gonna talk about anything Mets related for a while right now. We're gonna talk about. We're in June now, right?
Yeah, one more month to
To
trade
the trade
deadline.
deadline.
Almost a month and a half.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So now we have that problem. So you guys went five in a row. Okay, so last week, this is the funny thing, guys. Just for you guys that listen, this guy was honing in on his game last week, right? This is the game against the Cardinals on Wednesday, the 28th, and Lash is excited. Baltimore's winning. They're doing their thing. He's excited, but guess what? They end up losing. They
They
end up
blew it.
losing that game. They blew
Yep.
it. You heard him?
Bullpen.
You heard what he said? They blew it. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
When I took a look at that, I was like, wow. But check this out. After that, they had to play the White Sox, and they played the White Sox like they were supposed to, like a team that has pieces and has the ability to win games with their bats, even if their pitching is not so good that day. But they did it. They won. Tight games 2-1, a 4-2. They won games, and then they won the last one 3-2. So they were all tight games. But that's not the point. The point is that they were able to put together three in a row, right? And then they won four in a row, right? Because they played their first game against the Mariners, and they were able to win that too, 5-1. So that showed momentum, right? So and then guess what? They did it again. So they won the series. They won their last two series, okay? Their last two series. And they're about to play the third game tonight, which is, for the sweep. We're going for a double sweep. which is good. This is moving in the right direction, but the problem is, do we have enough time to right the ship now? That's the problem. Okay, so this is my question to you. My question is: do you sell? Do you play, or do you play baseball? Okay, like look, you're 24 and 36, 13 games back.
12
You know,
under.
you know, you've played, you won five in a row. You're going for a double sweep today. But when do you, what do you do? You're playing, how do you play this?
Oh, that's easy.
Talk to
I
me.
saw the pieces. I saw pieces that you're not going to bring back, and hopefully you can get either pitching prospects, as that's what they need, or get some type of second tier pitching. Uh, Trade Mullins. His contract is done at the end of this year.
Okay, Thomas, let's backtrack 1 second. So basically, you're telling me that there's no way you can get out of this hole. This 24 and 36, 13 games back. Not even a wild card. You're not even
You
striving
can
for
come
that.
out of the hole, but the thing is you can still trade pieces and still kind of be a contender without trading major assets of your team. You know what I mean? All right, so trade the guys that you know you're not gonna bring back. That's what I'm trying to say.
I like
If
that.
you
I
know
like
you're
what you
not gonna
said.
bring these guys back, okay, you know the division's out of reach. Just the Yankees keep winning. Yeah, they lost yesterday, but the Yankees are good. They're retooling. Uh, uh, Baltimore's too far back, so I don't see they could make a wild card. But first of all, you gotta get over 500. You're 12 under. That's pretty far. That's a pretty deep hole. That means you gotta win 12 in a row, or you have to have a good record between now and the trade deadline. Basically, you
Yeah,
need to be at
yeah,
500 or best
yeah. It's hard.
before at the trade deadline. That's just too hard. You're gonna hit another slump probably. Who knows how long this fun ride's gonna be. But if I'm the Orioles, they need pitching prospects. They need pitching. If you could trade Cedric Mullins, I know we talk about this a lot, to the Mets for Tyler McGill and Tyrone Taylor, whoever you want to trade me, or the sixth prospect in the Mets organization,
That's what they're
or the
looking at. That's what I
Phillies,
read. Yeah,
then do it. Who cares? If you know you're not going to be signing the guy, who cares if you're contending or not? You know, okay, whether I'm contending, I'm still going to make this trade because I'm going to get positive pieces back in return. It's like a couple years ago in 2022, they were way better than they are right now, but they still decided to sell because they realized we're not quite there yet. We still need some pieces. And they traded Jorge Lopez, I think it was at the time, and some other pieces, and they got other prospects back, pitching for them now. And so that's what you got to do. That's what a good GM would do. You know your weakness. So yes, trade away players that you know you that are near the end of the contract and you're not going to be signed. So me, I'd also trade away um, maybe Junior Cano, who's been struggling out of the bullpen. I wouldn't trade Batista yet. Yeah, he's had a first year. This is his first year back since his ACL injury. He's kind of been on and off, streaky. But I wouldn't trade him because you do need a future closer. But if they were to trade him, I wouldn't be too worried because Baltimore is known for finding closers in the past. Zach Britton's of the world. Guys that you never heard of that became stars as a closer for them. So I wouldn't be. Jorge Lopez was the closer before Batista. So you could trade Cano, Mountcastle. He's a potential. I think he has one more year left in Baltimore. So that's something you could. Reason why you can get away with it because you have good prospects coming up. Uh, you have Enrique Bradfield. You have Honeycombs, I think his name is, and then you have Mayo who could take over for first. He's up now, but he could take over for first place. You have Sam Basala, who's your AAA catcher right now, since he can't catch because you have Rutschman. He could be your first baseman. So yeah, you can afford to trade the players that develop now because you could just bring up other guys and just say, all right, if we're not going to be in the playoffs or we're contending, we'll try these prospects that we have now, let them play. And the nice thing about Mullins is he's hot right now, so you would want to trade him because you get a good return in return. So you can't just say, "Oh, we're in the
Yeah, but
playoffs. We
it's
think
just
we're
the
gonna make the
rental though.
playoffs. Let's
Yeah.
just hold on to him." That'd be really stupid. And he's a
No,
1 year rental, so why
it's a
not get rid of
rental.
him?
It's a rental.
You know, uh, I think he'd be good on the Mets or the Phillies. They both need center field help, more so the Mets. Tyrod Taylor's good defensively, but
Defensively, amazingly, he's
his bat
crazy,
is not Mullins. Mullins has both. He's got the bat and the
and
defense.
he has the speed as well, just like Tyrone. Tyrone
And
has
the
some speed.
outfield is shorter in City Field, so he has less to cover than the Baltimore's.
You think
So
so? I
that's a
don't know.
plus.
Hmm.
I think so. I don't know.
Okay.
And also, he has a Gold Glove outfielder, or I don't know about Gold Glove, but he has a really good you know he's got what Juan Soto to his left, so that's not bad.
That's horrible. You're right. It's not bad.
Well,
It's horrible. But
but
you know
either
what?
way, he would add. He would from an offensive standpoint, he adds the bat and he adds speed to the bases.
I
So
agree.
now you have a fifth guy who can steal, who can add pressure. Acuna, Mauricio, Lindor. Who else? Mullins if he's traded. So now you have speed on the base pass. So you could put him anywhere in the lineup and he could probably produce anywhere. So I would definitely trade. I don't worry about what my record is. You gotta get you gotta get a return now before it's too late. Because if you hold on to him and then you either don't make the playoffs or you fall short in the first round, and then you're just gonna let him walk. You know how bad that's gonna look. It's gonna look really stupid. So just start the process now. Trade
So you
him.
think so? So you think
St-
so? So you mean? So you say, let's say the Mets pick him up, right? And then we end up, making it to the same exact spot, the NLCS, right? And we're playing against the Dodgers, and once again, we can't get over the hump. And Cedric has a very decent postseason, like like I don't know what above normal, above average, like a couple of home runs here and there, you know, he's hitting the ball, a couple of steals, you know what I'm saying, a couple of RBIs. He wasn't like, forgotten. Like he didn't forget how to hit in the playoffs. So what do you re-sign him? Because I mean we have to he's a free agent after that. So what do you do? Do you sign him? Or do you like let him go? And you say, the project didn't work out. We didn't really want him because he's too old. Like how much do you sign him for? Like what do you do? You know?
well, here's the thing. If you're the Mets, you gotta say, okay, what are the potential free agent center fielders that are gonna be available? He's one of them. So besides him, can you get someone that's younger that can play defense as well and
Okay.
can hit as well as he does? Two, can if not, do you have someone in your farm system that can, or do you have someone currently on the roster that can replace him and meet his standards, or just be as good as him? If not, then you just sign him to a short-term deal. Okay, listen, give him like a P. Alonso deal. Give him a 2 year, 1 year
Exactly.
option.
There you
Give him a
go. You took
thirty-one
the
million dollar
words
deal.
out of my mouth. You took them right
You
out of
know,
my mouth. That's
give him a thirty
exactly
one
what I'm
dollar meal
talking
that
about.
takes him to 33 at best, maybe 32 if he opts out.
Exactly.
If he has
He's not gonna want it though. He's not gonna
Alonso
want it.
deal a year, then you could let him go or resign him.
He's not gonna want
Um,
that deal though. You know why?
but
Because it's no
yeah,
guaranteed. He wants guaranteed. So he wants his 5 years. He's 30 years old. So
well
he's like,
then the
oh,
Mets is just gonna let him walk. Then
exactly.
depends.
That's the problem. We don't know.
Well, Orioles did this last year. They let Austin Hayes go. He in 2023 he was an All Star for them. It just he at the time they were at Baltimore needed bullpen help, and they got Gregory Soto and Sir Anthony Dominguez from the Philadelphia Phillies. Um, so far that trade's been okay. Those guys have been inconsistent. Right now they're doing good. Soto and Dominguez. And Austin Hayes, he's made a name for us. He's doing good, and he's having a decent year in Cincinnati. Philadelphia didn't resign him; they let him go. So you can't worry about what happens to your former players once you go. You gotta say, what can I get for him now that we need the most? We need starting pitching. If we can get a top tier prospect that is a starting pitcher for Cedric Mullins, whether that's be from the Mets or the Phillies. The reason why I say those two teams because those are two teams that have been mentioned the most.
Nolan McLean, yeah, that's the guy,
Then
the number
then
6,
is
the
he a
two
pitcher?
guys. That's the picture. Yeah, that's the picture
So
for
then you
Stitcher
trade
Melons.
for him.
That's the rumor. That's the rumor. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
six.
So
It's
you
a
trade for him, and you say, okay, we'll try again next year. Let's develop this guy that the rest of the year in our farms. Put him in AAA or wherever he. Where is he now in AAA?
yes.
Yeah. So you
You
keep him in Norfolk or whatever it is, and then if your team is out of it, you know what I would do? Bring him up anyways. Let him see how he does. If we know, okay, cool. We got a future starter. He's gonna be good. He could be, because last then the number one problem with Baltimore is that the whole rotation is gone from last year essentially, except for Kramer, either injuries or lack of performance or free agency is what killed Baltimore. Burns is gone, but it's funny. Burns is now on the IL for Arizona. He's been out for a while. Um, Eflon was hurt. Now he's back. He's okay. Tyler Rogers, he's back in AAA, but he was a guy they got from Miami. He's been disappointment so far. And then Rodriguez has been hurt. And then like you said, Burns you let go. So basically, you just got a bunch of nobodies or washed up. You got a guy from Korea, Japan, who's okay, Sagano, Tomoyo Sagano.
oh
He's been
man.
good actually. He's been surprisingly good. But part of it is that the teams don't know who he is. And then Charlie Bourne, he sucks. He's old. He's washed. But yeah, he's won his last two. But I'm not impressed because he played crappy teams. But either way, so their number one thing is that they gotta get the pitching rotation better. Now, what gives me hope is they got Colin Cowser back, and he's been hitting for them. He's been doing great. So that's a plus. Westbrook should be coming back in a week or two. So those are two good offensive players that contributed last year that helped the offense. So if those guys can help the offense, it's gonna wake up the offense. But even in
Yeah.
these wins, they're still struggling. They're still leaving a lot of guys on base. They're not pushing the runs. Yesterday's game was exciting because they were down 2-1 in the going into the seventh. No, they were down 2-1 something like that. And then they got a man on second, and Kerstad hit a triple, and then two runs scored, and they took the lead, and they never looked back again. Now, granted, I look at Seattle as a contending team because right now they
Yeah,
are,
yeah. They are, they
and
are.
so they're playing against a winning team and they're doing really well. They're shutting down that
That's
offense.
what
Their
I'm
offense
talking
is
about.
so that's a good sign.
Yes, it is. That's a great
So,
sign, you
because if
know.
it's just Colorado and Chicago, we play the Athletics net. They're terrible.
But
They
hey,
only have one good starter and a good closer,
now, but you
but they
don't
could beat you too.
exactly, exactly. So you have to be careful. You can't say that. You have to play one day at a time. One game at a time.
One
And
team.
that's it. That's it. Look, what's in front of you. This is what we have. Let's try to go out there and win. You guys have been winning. If you win today, that's six in a row, and you go play some more, and you keep trying. But I don't know. Like you said, don't trade everything away. Don't put everything out there. Just the pieces you know that you're not going to be working with any longer. Even if you go on a playoff run, it is what it is. You're trying to get in there, be a wild card at this moment, at this time. This is what the plan is. You can't just fold. If you can try to fix it a little bit, you guys have a little bit of momentum going on right now. I think it's great. But it's bad because next month it's like, all right, did we pull off the right moves here? Did we get better overnight? Yes or no? And
Yeah, that's the thing.
that's the thing. Exactly. That's the thing.
Yeah, so I I'm all for selling. I like to sell the guys you're not gonna resign. Um, Even if you have to, for me to trade Felix Batista, if you would have to get a major haul, but you need to trade him to a team that needs a closer and who's definitely in contention. Um, I don't know if they would trade in division because look at Yankees. They're struggling with their closing issues. What did you call it? Devin Williams. He's
Williams,
inconsistent. They moved him to the
yeah.
eighth spot. He's been doing better lately. I
Listen,
saw him play yesterday.
I
The
love
other
it.
day.
I love it. I love
But
it.
so, hey, babe, now you don't know how. Hey, maybe all right, cool. Maybe he be closer and Devin Williams be the setup man. Who knows? So you could have a 1-2 punch in New York. I don't know. Um, but if you're gonna trade someone like that, you know who the Warriors are gonna want in return? You better give me Spencer Jones or one of the top prospects or pitching prospect at least. I don't know about Spencer Jones. They're gonna hold on to him. He's a potential outfielder for them. So I don't see that. But if you can give me a top tier pitcher, the problem with the Yankees, one thing I always noticed about the Yankees, they don't know how to develop starting pitching. And if they do, they go somewhere else and they freaking do great. Some look at Michael King, was great, traded him, and now he's doing all right in San Diego. But
No, no, he's not
uh,
doing it right. He's become something. Okay, he's a
yeah,
he's a household name now. Okay, let's not act like we don't know who that guy is. Okay, he's definitely because you're right. Like even if that was the answer for Juan Soto, this is what they did, right? For Juan Soto, sure. For let's go for a run. They made it to the World Series, so it worked. Okay, it wasn't like they just couldn't finish. It worked. Now, is it gonna work for us in the same way that it works for the Yankees overnight? No, it's not. It doesn't seem like it, but it's okay though. You know why? Because we have him. And eventually he's gonna, come out of it and he's gonna figure it out and he's gonna start hitting again. But we got there last year without him, and we're doing the same thing this year. And we're seeing little hints of it here and there. But whatever, it's okay. We'll figure it out. He's gonna like winning here, because he knows he doesn't have to be number one here. He just has to be, and that extra piece that makes us even better. Look at that. Who knew that Alonso was gonna be having this type of season? All right. That's a plus too, So it's like Juan Soto's playing like an old Alonso, and Alonso's playing like old Soto. Like role reversal. Can you imagine if they were both playing at
yeah.
their best? Shit.
You'd be 20 games above 500 and have like a 10.5 game lead on the next best team.
Exactly.
But no, Juan Soto got hot during this LA series, so that's a good sign. Now that
Not,
just proves what I've always been said:
no, no, it
players do
wasn't.
well in warm weather.
No, no,
When
but it
it's really
wasn't. That's not
warm,
true. No, he got warm. He got. He started
makes a
hitting
difference. The
during the
ball drives
Colorado,
further.
the Colorado series. He started hitting during that series,
That's true.
but
He was getting like base hits and doubles.
yeah, no, he was doing his thing. Whatever. He hit, 3 home runs, right? Short span, but against Colorado, whatever. And then he hit one against the Dodgers. But listen, we're not here to talk about him. We're not here to talk because everybody's talking about him, and I just said I gave everybody the reason why we're not going to talk about him. It's going to give him some time. Let's give him time because just like Lindor came over here, and I'm like, wow, Lindor's not doing what he did over there. And then all of a sudden, boom! All of a sudden, he became this MVP type caliber player. Where he's like, let me put this team on my back. I can do this. It doesn't weigh as much as you think. I can handle this, and he did. He showed us that he is a captain. You know,
Yeah, Lindor,
he's a
he's
cap.
staying above. He's staying afloat. He's doing okay, but
Yes, yeah, he's
you
doing
could
great.
expect you would want him to do better, which he will. He got hot
Nah,
last year
yeah,
after the second half, so I'm
exactly.
not
Like
gonna worry about
I'm
it.
not worried
Just stay
about it
afloat.
either.
Stay afloat.
Exactly. Listen, Lindor has been playing. Listen, Lindor got hotter faster than he usually does. So I'm not saying anything. He's on
Yeah,
fire right now. Lindor is definitely hitting the ball. He's carrying the team. Alonso's definitely like, oh, let me get some of that weight. I got it. I got it too. So Soda will hit. Nemo's been great. You know, look at that. This is what the crazy part is.
Alvarez will hopefully start getting together. If he starts getting hot,
It's okay. You know why it's okay? Because we have
he has a good
Torrens.
defense
We have Torrens
and
though.
Durant's too.
So Torrens is great. So listen, the problem is don't overplay Alvarez if Torrens is doing great. Let's play the hot hand. I think if you play the hot hand, then you can, figure it out later along the path. Like don't waste a hot hand. If it's there, let's use it right here, right now. This is how I would want to. play this team, but this team hasn't been played like that. Look at that, Mauricio. They bring him up, right? He's up here now. He's struggling a little bit. You know, he's not hitting the ball. It's okay. We're gonna have to give him a break. But when you do that, you're just confusing players and confusing everybody around you. You don't know what's going on. Think about it. You're like, oh, today I'm playing third. Tomorrow I'm sitting on the bench. Tomorrow I play for 2 innings. At the bottom of the eighth, I come in and I run a couple of, plays over the first. For a couple, nah, that I don't appreciate that because the player doesn't get to develop properly. The player doesn't get his opportunities to become that elite player. You know, I don't know. What happened to your boy? Was it Jackson, right? Jackson Holiday, right?
Yeah,
Same thing. Like, all right, I understand he was struggling, but you have to give him time to.
he's doing okay now.
Yeah, exactly. You
He's
have to give
staying
him
afloat.
time.
He's
He's,
not
he's
like hitting home runs, but he's getting on base. He's pushing runners.
There you go.
His dad's helping him with change his stance and approaching hitting. So yes, you just gotta give. You gotta wait. Same thing with the Orioles. That's what I mean. Like the offense is just too good to be just this bad. I don't see that happening. You gotta give it
Yes.
time. Henderson is slowly. Henderson has been not. Both Rutschman and Henderson have not producing, but Rutschman in the last 2 days hit a home run, so he's been okay. But if you need those two guys to perform, it's just like the Mets. You need Lindor to perform and Soto. If those two
Yeah.
guys start hitting,
The
forget
top
about it.
three. Yeah, the top three.
Yeah,
Listen, the top three hit. Listen, for the first time the other day, in the same uniform, obviously, all three of them hit a home run. You know what I'm saying? I believe it was against Colorado. They hit a home run. All three of them: Lindor, Alonso, and Soto. So first time that should be happening a lot. To be honest with you, that's how I feel. That should be happening a lot. It shouldn't, and not so late in the season. That should have happened a while ago. But it's okay. It's happening now, and I think that they have a shot. I want to analyze, you know, the way they're playing baseball right now because it's funny because they put the Dodgers on top at home and then the Dodgers at the bottom at their crib, in LA. So it's funny because in between that is a whole bunch of garbage, right? And we were supposed to behave a certain way on our way back to the LA series and, on the West Coast. So I want to analyze how we did based on that. I think maybe we pulled it off. I don't know. Maybe you tell me what you think, but we're going to talk about that in a second. I think you guys did really great. Like listen, White Sox, let's get them out the way. Boom, and then momentum happens, and then now the Mariners. If you win today, it's gonna be great for you guys. It's gonna feel good. You're gonna say, all right, now we have something. Let's keep pushing. Listen, it's gonna be hard to get back on top, but a wild card isn't gonna hurt you guys. You know what I'm saying? Let's look at the wild card situation. Have you looked at it?
now I'm pulling up right now.
Perfect. So am I. So am I. Let's see what we got here.
I'm guessing Minnesota would be at the top.
No, man. Oh,
Uh,
I see it. You're 8 games back out of that. 8 games.
yeah, Minnesota's on top of the wild card. Minnesota, Cleveland,
Yeah,
Seattle, they have
yeah,
the top
yep,
three.
yes,
And you
sir.
just took two out. Well, there's a
Well,
chance you could
yeah,
take three
the
out of
whole
Seattle.
three. Yeah, exactly. You can sweep Seattle. So you're playing like that, then you can pull it off. So yes, you're 8 games back right now. We're gonna start watching that now. That's something to watch. Unfortunately, so young in the season, but at the same time,
It's a hard
that
mountain to climb, a hard
exactly.
hill.
And July's right there, so you have to be able to try to make the team a little better over that little span and try to fight forward and try to get a slot in the wild card. This is what you were talking about with the Mets last year. We had to fight our way in there. And it's funny because towards the end we almost lost that wild card, but we were able to fight back, you know. So This is why we feel like it's never over. But 8 games back in the wild card with all the baseball that's left, you can definitely pull something off there. I don't. We're not talking about the division anymore. We're talking about a wild card situation, and I think you can definitely pull that off. I think so. If you you pull off the right moves at the trade deadline.
Well, reason why yeah, that, but the problem with that is you got to look at, remember, Seattle could be in contender, so they could be trading for players that they need. Kansas City, they're right half a game out. Tampa Bay is always good. You can never count Tampa Bay out. They could be trading for players, you know.
Yeah,
They could trade. Who knows? They could trade Low. I think is the second baseman. You know, Yankees might want him because Yankees need a second baseman. So would they trade him? Who knows? So it all depends on what other teams do as well. You can't just look at like, oh, I hope all these teams above me lose. Just looking at Texas, they have a really good starting rotation. The problem with them is they're like Baltimore. Their offense is dry, and they have good offensive players, good bullpen, but offense. I mean, good starting staff, but offense is not producing. Boston, great starting staff in my opinion,
yeah, of
but the
course. I
offense is
I
not
believe that.
producing. And then
I
they they
know.
they, they got issues. Cora's having problems in locker rooms. They're talking about trading Duran.
I
That'd be
know.
crazy.
Oh no, you know what? That's not gonna happen
That's
because
I
the
don't think so. He's a star
controllability
player.
and he's a star
Yeah,
player and he's not getting paid at all. So nobody.
yeah,
I mean,
keep
the
him.
pieces, nah, but now you would know that the trade return for that would be insane. Be like,
And Toronto sucks. I don't care what anybody says.
hey, listen. There's a lot of teams. For some reason, I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of teams this 25, campaign have gone on a lot of runs, a lot of streaks, a lot of teams that you would think that wouldn't, pull something off, like the crazy streak that Minnesota went on. Excuse me, for like what 12 games in a row. There's a lot of teams out there. I think the Washington, right prior to us going into the LA series, had a crazy streak going too. Like a lot of teams. Like Washington had won 10 out of the last 13, you know what I'm saying? So they were playing really good baseball. Washington, this is a team that everybody thinks isn't. I think they're close to being ready, couple of pieces, and they're going to be going in the right direction. I think the NL East is going to be changing up a lot. It's going to be Washington is going to be up there. Philly's going to drop a little. I think the window's closing. The Mets can continue to spend money and try to figure it out and try to get better, especially depending on what wall we hit. I don't think we're ready to make the World Series unless Soto becomes that player that they paid for. I'm not going to say we paid for, they paid for, because, at this point, it's a novella I'm watching, but I'm watching it for free. Sometimes I get paid to watch. So that's how crazy that is. But you used to get paid to watch too,
Yeah,
you know? That's a great feeling. But we're not, listen, I think that Baltimore has a shot. If you look at it from that perspective, you know what I'm saying? You can't look at it from, oh, we want to win the division, we want to do this, we want to win a World Series. Now, okay, let's get to the wild card situation. Let's fight for one of those. And I think you can pull that off. If you start figuring it out, I see that obviously you're playing really good teams well. Like the Mariners are really good, And who you playing after the Mariners?
so they played Sacramento, who's on a 9-game losing
Yeah,
streak.
oh yeah.
So if
Man,
you can
listen.
go, if you go 5-1 on this road trip, or I don't see 6-0. But if you were to go 6-0, and then you come, I'm looking at the schedule now. I don't know if they come home after. I think they do come home. So they got Athletics till Sunday. Then they come back to Detroit. Detroit's a really good team. So
Of
that's
course.
now
Another
actually like
test.
that's a
Another
good
test.
test. If you get to see Detroit, if you get to take 2 out of 3 from Detroit, okay, all right, now it's a sign. Okay, then they play the Angels at home. Angels can take one from you, but they're rebuilding kind of.
They just swept the
Then
Dodgers
then
too,
they
not
play
too long
Tampa
ago.
Bay.
Don't
So you
forget
got
that. It's not gonna
division.
be it's not gonna be that easy, but it's a good test. But this is, you know what? Okay, so if you get to the point where in the Detroit series, if you destroy Sacramento / Las Vegas, whatever you want to call them, right? So they're on a losing streak. You sweep Seattle tonight, right? This afternoon. They start this afternoon.
Yeah.
If you sweep them, then you go into that Sacramento slash LV series and you sweep them because this is the type of momentum that you guys are carrying right now. It's a big ball. You guys are creating that big ball effect where you're steamrolling now. If you can pull that off, right, go into that Detroit series and show them that you destroyed Seattle. You were able to destroy the teams that everybody else is destroying. Then you compete against Detroit. Then that's when the GM has to say, what are we doing? Are we gonna go for it full throttle? Or are we looking for pieces? Or are we giving away pieces? This is a good test.
But I'll tell you this.
Ooh.
Baltimore, if they are going to trade, they're not trading for position players. They're trading for pitching staff only. And in my opinion, they're going to go after guys that still have controllability. They're not going to make the mistake of going after a Burns and then he's gone at the end of the year.
Yeah,
You
but
know.
did you guys really even try to go after Burns? Like you
No,
guys
that
exactly.
was
All
not a
right.
mistake. That was just being cheap, in my opinion,
Okay, so that's a different
hoarding
story.
the prospects.
That's different.
But either way, so then you gotta look around. You gotta say, okay, hey Oakland, I know you got a couple good starters. Hey, you want what can we give you against these guys, these starters that we need? Guys that still have controllability. That's what they're looking for. They're not gonna go after another Corbin Burns guy, especially if they know they're not gonna re-sign him. The reason why they got Eflon is because they have years of controllability. 2 years after this, they got to re-sign him. I think they'll resign him because he's worth less money. He's not going to ask as much money as Burns did. You know, he's a good pitcher, and then also you're going to hope that the next year you're going to hope that Rodriguez is back, Kyle Bradish is back. What's the name? Tyler Wells, the other starting. Remember, those are the three starting pitchers they don't have, and
I know it. That's why it's so
Wells
hard
was
for you
good last
guys.
year, and you know. Grayson Rodriguez, if he always hurts, but when he's good, he had a good couple games this year, but then he got hurt. He's not coming back till July. So the thing is like, that's another thing. Do I trade for starting pitching or do I just hold off and see if the guys I have in house can perform and do well for me? Because if you're gonna get them back, right? Let's say you start trade for starting pitching. What are you gonna do with Rodriguez and Wells if they come back? They don't have a spot unless you kick out somebody else. Well, they could kick out Charlie Morton. That's true. But what happens if you trade for him and not trade for him? But all right, so the guys you get, those guys could replace Charlie Morton's spot. They could
Yeah,
replace Dean
and
Kramer, who's been inconsistent in my opinion.
I can replace Charlie Morton right now. Unfortunately,
Put him in the
he
bullpen.
he just won his first game the other day.
He won two. He's won two in a row.
Look at that. Oh my God, there you go. Look at that. Let's
He
round
still
of
sucks.
applause. Now listen, this is momentum. This is momentum. So now he has momentum. Now he feels like, all right, now I can get back to my true form. Whatever he thinks, doesn't matter as long as it works. Okay, this is what you need. This is what you want, right? Listen, you can win tonight. You've done it for the last 2 nights. You already won the series. So what? Let's continue to win. Let's make this happen.
Yeah, so in the last 9 games, the Orioles is 7-2. The ERA has gone down. The offense is not where you want it to be, but Baltimore is really good when they score runs. They're not scoring runs, so it puts a
Any team is
lot of
really good when they
pressure.
score runs.
No, they do. It
Any
puts a
team
lot
is
of
good when they
pressure.
score
Oh, of
runs.
course, yes. The Yankees are good. The Mets are great. You
Oh, the
know,
Mets are great. I got stats
when
for
they
you.
score runs. But what's carried. You see, the nice thing about the Mets is what's carried the Mets this far
I'm listening.
is their
Let me see if
pitching
you know.
staff. It's the starting
Oh,
rotation has carried them and the bullpen too, which is great
no.
because if one of them falters but the offense picks up, okay, cool. You don't need lights out performance from Diaz. You don't need lights out performance from the
Starters. Canning, Holmes,
Canning and Holmes
you
and
know,
what's the other guy's
Senga.
name? Richard. What's his name?
Senga. What do you,
Senga.
what's wrong with you, bro? You don't know my rotation. Peterson, McGill.
Peterson. I was thinking of Peterson. Tyler McGill and
What's
Peterson.
wrong? Come on, bro. Come on, man. Get it right, bro. Listen, the best rotation in baseball. You know what's funny? They're the best
They're the
in
best
the National
ERA.
League. I know, but in the National League, right? In the National League, in the American League, in the total, right? In the runs the numbers, right? So like Texas is better than us, believe it or not. And the Grom is there. Church is coming back.
Lighter
So
and Kumar
okay,
Rocker, former Met prospect,
listen.
they're all there too. So,
Let me explain something to
but
you.
they don't score.
Matt pitches wherever they are, wherever they're sprinkling right now. Listen, the Grom is figuring it out again. That he's doing his thing. He's has a new arm slot. He used to pitch for us. Scherzer's coming back. Scherzer's played for everybody in the right situations. The Dodgers. He started in Detroit, right? He played for Washington. I think he had the ring from Washington when Soto was there as well. You know what I'm saying? So all the pieces were there at the right time. He played for
Yeah.
us. It didn't really work out for us. But he's that guy though. I think a lot of look at you know Walker, Wheeler, all these guys. Lugo. They're all thriving. They're all doing their thing. I think there was always something there. Just that. I feel like the pitching on the Mets right now is so elite and so crazy. Like I love it. Like we don't have to worry about pitching. It's the hitting. I don't think we're fake. I don't think we're faking anything. I think we're just gonna like ease ourselves into the playoffs with no problem. Like how we do it, how well we do it is up to them. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah. I think they'll make the playoffs. You just don't want to fall to the wild card spot. Like I said, if your pitching can stay hot, and then and if your pitching can perform like the way they're doing,
Yeah,
and
that's
you
the more.
get
Yeah.
help from the offense, Lindor's hitting like crazy, Soto's hitting home runs and doubles and triples like crazy. Pete Alonso keeps doing what he's doing. Nimmo starts getting hot too, starts hitting balls. You get production from Alvarez and Acuna. I'm waiting to see when Acuna is going to start producing because he has the
Okay.
power to hit home
Oh
runs.
my God. You know
You
what?
know,
You see people who say that. So this is okay. You know why?
you don't
You
think
say
so?
that? Okay, of course. Let me explain something to you. I can explain this to you. Listen, all right. It's just so easy to explain. All right, and I like that. I like that energy that you're bringing. See, you're wondering why. It's very simple. They're not playing him every day, Lasha. All right, they're playing McNeil. Right, they have to. Every second base is like a whore. Somebody new was sleeping on her every night. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else is whipping their business out on her every night. This is what it is, okay? Second base for the Mets is Acuna, right? It's it could be Mauricio, it could be Vientos, it could be Beatty, it could be McNeil. Like you don't know who's gonna get second base tonight. That's horrible. It can't be like that. I need Acuna to be on second base on a daily basis. All right, listen. And the whole thing with Beatty, all right, Beatty has a hot hand right now, so that's the only player that's actually getting he has the hot hand business. Everybody else isn't getting that because if that was McNeil should be coming off the bench. I don't care how much money he got paid. When Epler was the GM and he won the batting title that year and he got paid for it. I understand all that, but that's a mistake that didn't, it didn't work out. So listen, he has to play off the bench. He's a great utility player. He can play left field, true left fielder. He can play second. He can play third, maybe, but we don't need all that. Just play the slot. That's we need a DH, and we need a DH that day. But let's not overdo it with him. We need to make our team better and stronger. And having a Kuna on second base makes us stronger on a daily basis. But we're not doing that. So Vientos gets hurt, hamstring issue. So we bring up Mauricio. So now Mauricio's playing third. So now Beatty is the hot hand, but he's not getting, you know,
The bats.
the at bats that he needs to stay hot. So like this is why I have a problem. I'm like, you have to play the hot hand when you see a problem at a certain position, then you fix it. If Tyrone's not hitting, I know he has amazing defensive skills, but you play McNeil at center field. You know what I'm saying? He's not. He's older, but he's not slow. He can run back there. You know. Nemo has to play left field on a daily basis. You can't switch him out. You can't say Nemo's not playing left field tonight because McNeil has to play. No, it doesn't work like that. McNeil wasn't there for a long time. McNeil wasn't there during the postseason last year. He wasn't supposed to play in any of those games because you needed to earn that slot. You weren't there. We got here without you, so we're gonna continue to play without you because that's our best foot forward. Like we can't do that. I don't know how you feel about that, but listen, if you're not clutch, McNeil's not a clutch player anymore.
No, McNeil, I don't know what happened to him. He had a good year 2 years ago. I think won the Gold Glove, and then ever since
No, he won the batting title and got
that
paid.
batting title, yeah. Uh, I don't know what happened. It just he'll go somewhere else, and he'll just be
He's not. He's in the
back.
control till 2027, so he's not going anywhere, bro.
Yes, he is because if Steve Cohen can eat up all these Verlanders contracts and all these other guys, Degroms, he can
No,
eat up
no, but
Jeff
it's not about
McNeil.
that. He's a great utility player. You have to play him like you have to play the hand properly. You just can't say, all right, he got paid this much and we need to play him every day. You need to put him on a bench and he has to play his position because he wasn't there when we got where we got. When we got to the NLCS, he wasn't a contributor of that. He was he got to play in games he wasn't really supposed to be playing in. That's how I feel. That's my opinion. But I'm not saying he doesn't have moments where he's like, oh, this is what I remember. I remember McNeil being great. He was. He used to be great. But we need to, it's
Yeah,
different now. It's different now. It's different now.
yeah. I don't know what happened to him. It's very disappointing, but I don't know. If you let him go, who's gonna replace him? Who are you gonna
Yeah.
get for second base?
Listen, it doesn't matter, bro. We have so many options for that last show. We have Beatty, right? If you want second base, Acuna should be playing second base every day, in my opinion. But then you have Vientos on third, right? But he's hurt right now. He hasn't been producing the way he's supposed to. So they have been playing Beatty there. Beatty's been playing well there. We have options, We have Mauricio can play either one. DH. You don't really have a DH. So like a true DH. So we can, that can be a slot where everybody gets a turn to build. Mauricio can hit there, McNeil can hit there, Marte can hit there until we get rid of him this year. After this year, he's gone. So we don't need that anymore. I want to get a little younger. I'm not saying that I don't love Nemo. I love Nemo. He's, one of our veterans. I see what Alonso's doing, so hopefully we pay him because, all right, this can't be a fluke. Let's see if we get to the playoffs and Alonso carries the team when he has to. The way he's been playing is phenomenal. I feel like I don't think that a player deserves more of a salute than Alonso right now for carrying this team when the team hasn't been hitting at all. But for some reason, Alonso has been able to carry us. Lindor has been had moments of like I'm not hitting at all, but Alonso hit 2 home runs last night by himself. 5 RBIs. Soto got the other one with a hit, right? Like whatever. Like Alonso's serious. You think? Tell me about Alonso right now. What do you see from the sidelines? Because you're looking at the games from the sidelines. So I want to see what you think about Alonso.
I think he's doing well. He's doing way better than they expected.
Oh man.
He's overperforming that contract they gave him. He's gonna pay.
Oh
He's gonna hit. He's gonna find the nearest bank and cha-ching,
yeah.
Either Cohen's money or somebody else who needs a first
Philadelphia. I'm
baseman.
scared. I'm scared that
Uh,
Philadelphia might play themselves.
yeah, I know because they know they've been rotating Realmuto at first and Harper, but um, who knows? But either way,
I'm scared,
uh,
bro. I'm scared that the Phillies might just drop a lot of money and Schwarber too, because Schwarber's gonna be a free agent.
he's gonna be free agent.
Alonso's a free agent, so I listen. I would love to steal Schwarber from
I
the
was gonna say if
Phillies.
you let Alonso go and you get Schwarber, then what do
It's
you
just
lose?
I know you don't lose
It's a
anything. I mean,
win-win.
no, it's a win-win. No, but if to have both that
Oh, you can't
Schwarber.
have both.
Of course you can. Why not?
Well, you'd have him as DH.
Of course, we don't have a true DH. I've been saying that all,
Yeah, I
all
guess.
season. I've been saying that. It's only been 2 months. I know, but I've been saying this. We don't have a true DH. Somebody's gonna that you already know is you don't have to even look at the card. You don't DH. It's gonna be Schwarber. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to give Alonso a break, you put Schwarber on first. But to have both of those guys on a team, that's gonna be the that's gonna be what gets us over the Dodgers. You have to understand that we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about. I know, like especially you. I want to ask you those questions. You know, we talked about your team, what they need to do. You're a seller. You agree. I agree. Listen, I think that you should be selling, but not the big pieces. I think you should, cherish what you have and work with what you have. The big pieces, Cedric Mullins, listen, he's getting older. He's a good run piece. Like right now he's hitting. He's hitting because he knows he's due for a contract. These players do this all the time. Let's not even get it twisted. We already know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's I personally think the Mets will will keep Alonso, but
Man.
if Vladimir Guerrero were to become a well, they just signed him, so he's not gonna become available. So never mind,
No,
take
he's
that
not
back.
available for take that
So
back, son.
either way,
Nah, it's Schwarber. It's Schwarber.
Schwarber or but the
And
Schwarber is a little
Alonso.
older than Alonso, I think.
No, I think they're the same age. It doesn't
The
matter. It's
same
not about
age.
that. It's not about that, Lasha. It's about putting the pieces together. Where it's your lineup gets even more dangerous than it was. Listen, Schwarber was another guy that's thrived. Like listen, the Nationals amazing. He was a Mets killer. He played for the Phillies, Mets killer. He played for who else did he play for? He played for a couple of teams. He's always been a Mets killer.
Schwarber, yeah.
Yeah, so listen, we can get him on our team.
Cubs.
Cubs, right?
That's where he mostly came from. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Chicago.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. Mets killer. He's been a killer. We have this. I think we
Yeah,
need that.
so if that's the case, it sounds like you rather have Schwarber than Alonso. But if you could keep
No, no,
both,
both, both,
by
both.
all means, but you're gonna have to pay a lot of money for both.
That's okay. It's worth it. If you want to get
So,
over the hump, if you want to get over the hump,
well,
and
yeah. If for this year, if you want to get over the hump, and you know, like, all
no,
right, we need
no,
to
no, no.
get
Think
it.
about it though. Think about it, Lasha. Think about it. So you have Lindor, right? You have Soto, Alonso, Schwarber. Like just right there, like just are you crazy? That's perfect. That's dangerous. That's super, super dangerous. You can win a couple of championships with that under your belt. Listen, the Dodgers they came to City Field, right? And then after the Dodgers came to City Field, they had to play the White Sox, right? And then they threw in the Rockies, right? All at home. So it's like, oh my God, we have to play this amazing team. But this amazing team was struggling prior to jumping on the series with the Mets, right? So you're like, oh my God, what's gonna happen here? And then after that, you throw in some more Rockies action, right? And then you throw in some Dodgers action. So now today's the last game of the series, right? And the Mets have been playing the Dodgers really well. So
Yep.
so this is the crazy shit about this, excuse my language, of course, but the Dodgers come to City Field. Boom. They beat us in the first game. 7-5. We're like, damn, that hurt. In extra innings. So we're like, all right, we're that type of club where we keep games close, right? Because the Dodgers destroy everybody else. They destroyed the Yankees recently, and it hurt them. But now the Yankees, kind of, made us hurt too. But we made errors in in the rubber match. In the rubber match, we made errors, so whatever. It's okay. That's how baseball is. You make an error, you lose the game. In the second game, we beat them 5-2, and then we beat them 3-1. Right. So like this is a team that's stacked with amazing players: Otani, Freeman, Betts. Right. That's their three best players. Right. So you compare
Yeah.
that to what? You compare that to Alonso, Lindor, and Soto. Right. So who do you think out of those three have the best trio? We're getting close to like trying to match them. But I have the numbers here, and but I know you're not looking at them, and I need you to tell me what you think. All right, if you were a betting man, I know. Listen, I would pick the same three. I know why, but you tell me, Lasha. Tell me.
So those three, Alonso, Lindor, and Soto versus who?
Otani, Betts, and Freeman.
Oof,
Exactly.
that's hard.
It's not hard. It's not hard. It's not hard,
Well, right
Lasha.
now you gotta go with who's been producing the most.
Okay, so I have the I have the
Right now,
numbers right
it's
here.
wouldn't be the. I would think it'd be the Mets that are producing the most as far as offensive productive. Two out of those three guys for the Mets have been producing pretty well. Otani, they just walk him all the time. It seems like so. And right now he can't pitch. He's not pitching. So from offense and Mookie Betts, he's doing all right, but he's not lights out. You know. And
Mm.
Freeman, he's been good, but he's not lights out either. He's
No,
having a good year.
he's having a great year. You know, he's batting. I think he's
His
batting like
average is
almost
great.
400. He's batting almost
Yeah,
400.
he's
Are you
doing great.
crazy? But okay, but check this out. Okay, listen, Nasha. All right, this is the thing. Okay, you're saying that. So you're telling me that you will go with the Francisco Lindor, Peter Alonso Soto mix, be versus Otani. You can't juggle them. This is what it is. It's these three versus these three. So you're
Well,
telling
either
me
or,
that
then I'd pick if I could choose.
mm-mm, you can't choose. It's that package versus this package. Okay, it's
Well,
you
on
can't pick.
paper, it'd definitely be the Dodgers. Those three on LA are the better pick. But if you're going by latest performance and who's really been doing well and who has the potential to continue to do well, both can and will continue to do well. It's just who has a see. Here's the thing: the reason why I say the Mets because those three guys have a more of an impact on the whole team, whereas the Dodgers they have so many pieces, so they don't solely rely on those guys. So if those guys aren't doing well, it's okay because they got Teoscar Hernandez, they got Kike Hernandez, they got Will Smith, they got what's his name Rojas, I think I forgot his name, but they got other pieces that
Yeah, they have so
can
many pieces.
contribute. Where
But
the
I feel the
Mets,
same. I feel the
they
same
don't
thing about the
have
Bucks.
those.
I
They
do.
don't have
I know they
those
do. I
contributors.
feel like they do. That's the crazy thing about the Mets. Okay, because you say, you watch them on a daily basis. Everybody talks about the big names, right? But you have Vientos. You have your City McNeil. McNeil for some reason he gets the hit. Like it's weird to me. I wanna hate on him, but for some reason he's been getting the hit. You have Beatty now hitting like now we call him Beatty Bonds on the group chat. His name is Beatty Bonds now. It's crazy because he's always getting the hit. Torrens is amazing. I don't understand why he's not getting the starting role on the catcher side, and then have Alvarez, play from the back end and play less and try to figure it out until he's able to take over again. We understand, Alvarez, you've been there longer, but Torrens is hot right now. He needs to play a little bit more than you. You have to understand these things. If you're doing it all the way around, do it all the way around. Make sure that the ends meet. Don't do it on certain ends of the team and not do it on the other end. You have to do it all the way around. If you're playing the hand, you have to play the hand a certain way.
I'm a firm believer. You play the hot hand until he gets cold. Then you start
Exactly.
Alvarez. But
Yes.
baseball doesn't allow you to do that because dumb analytics. Who cares? But this is when you throw out the number. You say, you know what? This guy's riding. I'm sorry, Alvarez. You got to sit. Um, Terenza's doing well. We'll ride him out when he gets hot. Or he needs a break. Hey, he waves his hand, and say, "Hey, coach, Mendoza, give me a break, man. My arm is hurting. Whatever the case may be. Okay, cool. Alvarez, go in. Boom. Then you play him. You know, maybe you have a thing where maybe you just play Alvarez once a week, one game a week. Okay, it's too bad, but now he gets in there. He doesn't dry up on the bench. You know what I mean? He doesn't get cold on the bench. He still gets in there, and you play Torrens. And then
Yeah.
when Torrens gets cold and Alvarez gets hot, okay, Alvarez, you play for a while until your arm or whatever happens, and then you just keep rotating. What's wrong with
no,
rotating?
no, you're 100% right. But no, but they have to rotate it properly. You know what I'm saying? But now let's get back to this. All right. So prior to the Mets and Dodgers getting into it, right? Lindor batting 282, 13 home runs, right? Juan
Yeah.
Soto batting 233, disappointing 233 with 10 home runs, right? Peter Alonso batting 288, with 12 home runs. This is prior to them getting into it, right? Okay, Otani batting 293 with 22 home runs. Mookie Betts 254 with 8 home runs, and Freddie Freeman with the amazing 365 batting 365 with 9 home runs. All right, so when you tally everything up, they have us by like a couple of home runs, but
Yeah,
you
we might
know
be a little better, but not
that
much
but
difference.
not much difference. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I'm gonna go with my three because it's Francisco Lindor. I'm Puerto Rican, bro. Juan Soto's Dominican. We're not. We don't. Dominicans and Puerto Ricans don't really get along. But listen, we're trying to figure it
In
out on the
baseball,
Mets right
you
now. In
do.
baseball, you do, and then you have Alonso playing for his money this year, more relaxed because he's like, you know what, I'm here to relax, I'm here to have fun, I'm here to play baseball, and it's crazy because he got the contract he has, he hates it, but he has the option to get out of there. He's having fun, he's doing great. Listen, he has 14 home runs now because he smacked two in one day last night. 5 RBIs. Soto got another one of the other, it was 6 runs, but Alonso 2 home runs last night. It's crazy to me. He's doing this thing. We brought
Yeah,
Mauricio up. He's not hitting. It's okay. He'll figure it out. But
he just
Alonso's
started.
carrying the team exactly. He just came up. But the trios, I think that we have a better trio. I think we have a feistier trio. I think I love Freeman. I've always loved Freeman. He's a classy guy. It's like Jeter to me. Like I'll always respected Jeter. I'll always respect Freddie Freeman, and he's great. And Mookie Betts, I'll always respect him too. Otani's just an animal. Okay, so like you gotta respect these players. These three players together, it's crazy. But Soto, Alonso, the way he's hitting right now, and Lindor, who's been MVP status since last year. You know, I don't know.
See, my thing with Otani, right? If you're the Dodgers, do you just say to him, you know what, man, you're doing great just hitting. Let's just have no reason to pitch.
No
Maybe
reason
we
to
just
pitch.
you just shelf him and just say, you're no longer pitching and just hit.
I would do
Because
that.
now you get a longer career out of him. You know what I mean?
Of course, I
Or if you
would
let
do
him do
that.
both, he gets hurt, he breaks his arm, or he gets another Tommy John.
Oh no, no.
You
But
know,
you know what he is? You know what he is? This is what you do with him. He's a weapon. He's like a nuclear weapon, all right? I don't want to put this
the
out
arm is
there.
Swiss knife. He can do a
Nobody's
lot of things.
exactly. If listen, you don't want to. If I'm the Dodgers, this is what I would do with him. I'm prepping him. All right, he's prepping to pitch, to pitch, to pitch. But guess what? He's only pitching in the postseason. And he's gonna be super ready to do it and super amped because that's the type of player that he is, right? So not only do you have to break the rules again for him, because now he's pitching, and once he leaves the game, he's gonna stay as the DH. All right, so he's gonna produce on both sides during a postseason situation. He's only pitching in the postseason, so that means that opposing teams don't get a chance to really get a good look at him, and they're gonna have to use years prior to like 2 years ago. Look at work from 2 years ago. That's not good enough because he's gonna turn into a different animal at this stage in his career. And you
Yeah.
only use him for a playoff situation, and you murder the opposition doing it because they have no video to look at. They don't have. They don't
Or
even know how
or
to
you
prepare to him.
yeah, or you put him in a you have your starting rotation, right? And then you just put him in if it's like elimination game and you need to win the game, then you or close out the series, then you put him in. It's like, okay, you know,
Now you have to be
that's the nice thing
nastier with
about
it.
them.
You have to be.
They
You have
have
to
a
put
lot
him.
of assets.
Yeah,
They
a
can
lot
get
of
away with that.
assets. Exactly.
See,
One
that's the
hundred
nice thing
percent.
about the Dodgers. You don't need Otani to pitch because you've acquired so many good pitchers. But if one of those guys gets hurt or falls out of the rotation, you best damn believe Otani's going to be in there. Maybe not
One
this year, but
one
next
hundred
year.
percent. Exactly. One hundred
Or if
percent.
there's a pitcher that's a free agent, then if Glass now is going to be a free agent. I don't know what his situation is, but or what's his name? Blake Snell. If he leaves, I think he might. Yeah, right. Blake Snell. Yeah, he might leave at the end of the year. Yeah, all right. There, the now spot opens back up for Soto. I mean for Otani.
Yeah.
So right now, let him recover with his arm. Let his arm get healthy. Use him offensively, and then see what happens either in the playoffs or wait till next year. Who knows?
Yeah. Like I don't know. Like we have a shot. Like of course, Otani's trying to break records here. He's trying to do his thing. Alonso's trying to do his thing. I think Alonso's a big contributor of why we're where we at. Because of course, the pitching has been phenomenal, right? Or not, but like
Yeah.
we need somebody on the offensive side, handling it for us. And I think he's been so great, and it's crazy. I hope he continues this. I hope he breaks records. I hope he does something where it's like if we don't pay him, we're just stupid. And then that puts us in a position where like we definitely take care of him on the side before he even goes out there, so we don't have to fight against other teams to try to get him back in our lineup. And then we go after Schwarber, like something crazy like that. Whatever it takes, I want to say this team really put themselves in a position to win. But I understand the Dodgers, they're the champions. They have what it takes. They know what it takes to win. But we're showing signs of life again, like we were able to take that series from the Dodgers at home, right? And then they put the White Sox in front of us, and we're like, wow, what do we do with that? We take the first two, we win the series. But the last game, I couldn't understand why we couldn't win that, and I couldn't understand
They gave
why.
up 9 runs.
Yeah, they gave up 9 runs.
That
I don't understand that. That bothers me. We were supposed to destroy them, right? Okay, fine. We still won the series. And we were able to take the series from the Dodgers. All right. So we're like, okay. And then the Rockies came. The Rockies, I'm like, all right, now everybody's laughing. I'm like, I'll guarantee you the Rockies are doing so bad that they're gonna sweep us. No, we ended up sweeping them. So we were like, okay, now we have momentum. And then we know we're going back to the Dodgers because it was like a full circle of greatness back to trash, trash, and then back to greatness. So we played like we were supposed to. And then it's a 4 game series against the Dodgers. So we're like, oh man, this is going to be bad. No, we take the first one from them. All right. And then they take the second one. And it's all in extra innings. So we're playing really good baseball against each other. The pitching has been doing really well. Everything's been working out for us, right? And then we take last night, we take it with two Peter homers, MVP. That's what I call him around the way now. And he ends up winning the game for us tonight, man. If we win, we take the series from them. Oh man, it'll feel good.
yeah, yo, 3 games to 1.
Yeah. Well, 3 games to one in this series and two over there. So we definitely win the series. That's what we need to do in the NLCS if we end up bumping into them again. Because after this, we won't see them again unless we bump into that
In the
situation.
playoffs.
Exactly. So Alonso, man, 2025, doing so well. Look, he's played in
So
62. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't
no,
want
I
to.
was gonna say I'm looking at today's pitching matchup for the Mets. It's Peterson versus Knack. They have a good chance. Knack is 3-2, and Peterson's 4-2, 2.6 ERA. So that's good. 2.69 ERA. So I would take Peterson over Knack. Um, so yeah, there's a very good chance you could take uh 3 out of 4 from the Dodgers,
Yeah, that game is
and then
tonight.
you go to Colorado. So you got Colorado, and then you
Was
sweep Colorado. You
oh my
come
god.
back, you know,
Oh my god. I
and
don't. I don't think that's gonna
you come
happen.
back with 43 wins, and you be 20 games above 500. If you win today and you sweep Colorado, you be 20 games above 500 at 43 and 23.
Wow. I don't want to
And
even
then
think
you
that
come
far
home
ahead.
versus, and then who do you play? You would come home Tuesday, I guess. You come home against Washington. Washington has given people fits. They've given Baltimore fits. They're only 3 games out of 500, so that's a team you cannot lay down for. You know,
Hmm.
so it'll be interesting. I definitely think it'll be interesting. I'm not worried about the Mets. They're gonna make the playoffs. I think it'll be fine. The division is inconsistent. Atlanta's all hot and cold. They're
Oh
terrible right
man,
now.
forget about
They
Atlanta
lost
right
two out of
now.
three to Arizona. They're not producing offensively. Michael, they had a situation yesterday with freaking bases loaded, 2 outs, and freaking Harris swung at a ball that was under the ground. It's just like, come on, dude. Like, he's not producing. The offense is not producing like it should. They lost another starting pitcher. I think it's Miss Shaver or Swallenbach, one of those guys tore his ACL, so he's out. So that's another pitcher. They just got Strider. He's cold. He's not producing, but he just got back. So yeah, Atlanta's kind of in trouble, and Philadelphia, man, their problem is they have the offense. It's just their bullpen is sucks, man. They've always had bullpen issues, always, 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 always. So I don't
No,
take
no, but
them
they're playing.
seriously.
No, they played Milwaukee, right? Milwaukee really put it on
Milwaukee,
them.
yeah,
Milwaukee's tough.
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee's a tough out, man. Don't get them. Don't think that Milwaukee's easy. They're not. I don't like Milwaukee at all. Milwaukee always,
They play you
especially
tough, but they always they're like the Twins in the AL Central. They play well in the regular season, they make the playoffs, and then they just fall apart.
nah. And I'm not counting the Phillies out either. Listen to me. I think we have a slightly better team, but they have a really rugged, rough team. Like, and
No,
I
you're
like
only
that energy. I like that
a half a
energy.
game over the Phillies, one and a
Yeah,
half over the
a one and a
Phillies.
half over. That's for today. Let's see what
Yeah,
happens after when the game is over. When the games are over today. But listen, I think the Mets are on a roll right now. I think they're feeling good, especially if they win today. I think they're feeling good about themselves.
how could you not? And then you're going to Colorado. Now here's the thing: you feeling good about Dodgers? You can't get lackadaisical. They can't get lackadaisical. Be like, it's all right. We're just gonna go in the Coors
No,
Field and sip
no,
some mimosas and sweep them, with the eyes half open. No,
no.
Colorado will bang you up one day.
I know,
They could
I know.
pound you in the head. Look at Atlanta. They
They're
lost to them in Colorado. I was like, what the heck? They lost 3-1.
they're a
The
major league
pitchers,
baseball team, bro. Listen, it
yeah,
depends on who you get on the rotation.
they
Because
have
it
a
all
couple good
wraps
starters
around.
over
Yeah,
there that could
exactly. It
could
can
like
hurt you.
really hurt you.
Exactly.
So
But the thing about Atlanta is, all right, it's the same thing with this happening with Baltimore. Baltimore is, at the bottom of the pile in the division. And Atlanta seems like they want to do the same thing. Miami's coming up and, Washington, they leaped over Atlanta now. So it's New York in first place, 39 and 23. Philly right behind them, 37 and 24, which I'm not gonna count out till the season is over. Cause I like the Phillies. Listen, I don't there's something about the Phillies. I like Zach Wheeler, I like Walker, but they're treating Walker like, Walker's gonna be coming out of the bullpen now. They have a great rotation, don't get it twisted. They have great players. And Washington has great, youth, and the pitching is,
they have a
decent
decent pitching
rotation.
staff.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
do.
Mackenzie
So
Gore.
yeah, 29 and 32. Atlanta's 27 and 33. Are they gonna continue on to fight, or are they gonna end up at the bottom of the pile as well? We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. But listen, I think the Phillies still have something, so I'm not gonna count them out. I'm gonna continue to say that. It's important to say that the window hasn't completely closed yet. There's a trade deadline out there that can easily grab a couple of pieces and make something happen.
Yeah.
But, you know, let's talk about the hitter of the week. Let's talk about that because I want to forget about the Mets right now. The Mets are driving me crazy. I feel like we finally turned it around, but we have to keep going in the right direction. I think we're not doing enough, but that's just me. But pitcher of the week, gunslinger, Schwellenbach. He went 6 innings, right? 6.1. So that means, he had a little light in the seventh, but,
So he got into the seventh inning.
yeah, exactly. A little light. Like I said, a little light in the seventh. 5 hits, none earned, 11 strikeouts versus Boston on the 31st. You know, 5-0 win. This is the type of
That was in
energy that you
Boston
guys
too.
need. That's the type of
Yeah.
energy you need. But, I think it's a little bit too late for you guys at this point. I don't know.
They have
It's
no
going to be hard
pitching.
to climb.
And the offense is. Dude, let me tell you something, man. You know what bothers me about the Braves is is the the lack of production from the main core guys, Riley, Olson, and Harris. He's been the biggest disappointment because he started out high, he was doing great, and all of a sudden he just hit a rut. And he's too aggressive at the plate. He's not taking the balls. He's not taking the pitches. He's not taking what's given to him. He feels like he's got a home run or nothing, and then he misses on pitches he's not supposed to swing at. And so he's been a disappointment. He was playing great defensively. That's great, but they need runs. You can't just rely on Ronald Acuna to be the savior all the time. He has good days and bad days too. He just got
Yeah.
back.
But he is a
Not every day
savior.
he's gonna hit a home run.
He is nasty, though. He carries that
He's
team, which
great.
is
He
crazy.
does,
He
but
does. He really does.
But you need the supporting cast underneath to keep him going. It's just I don't know what he just literally. I was texting my friend, coworker, and we were just texting during the game, and she was saying like how because she ran into his dad during the game, Michael Harris's dad, and she was saying how like she told his dad like it's good to see Harris is finally turning around, and then that day he just like went over like 4 whatever it was. He just like slumping, and he's
It's
like you shouldn't have said
okay.
anything,
Nah, it's
but
not about that. It depends on
it's
the
just
pitching.
yeah, but that's a team that's I think Atlanta's gonna be one of those teams. They're gonna be aggressive in trading for pitching because they have the offense. You could see they got pieces you could trade. You could trade Verdugo, who's been doing okay for them. You could trade anyone that's not the main core guys. You know who else they're gonna trade for? In my opinion, Sean Murphy, because they found themselves a true catcher in Baldwin, and Drake Baldwin has been producing for them. He's gonna be their starting catcher for the future, and yeah, they gave a lot of money to Murphy, but they can let him go now. They'd be like, all right, cool. So that's a good sign. Can you get starting pitching for him? I don't know, but if you could trade him to a team that needs a catcher or that could use him as a DH to hit, Murphy's not a bad deal. He's just not doing well in Atlanta, and they seem to riding with Baldwin, so that's a guy they could trade for. I don't know if they would trade Albies. I don't think so. Uh, Nick Allen is the shortstop. He's their future now. They just let go of Arcia. Short,
Yeah, he hit a home run.
Albies,
Yeah, he would.
shortstop. You got Allen, so that's good. So, so yeah, who knows? I think Atlanta's kind of on a little bit of the youth movement. They I forgot the other outfielder's name. Can't think of the guy's name, but he's an outfielder for them that's been doing pretty well. But so the problem with Atlanta and every team besides the Mets and the Dodgers and the Yankees is their rotation is not producing or they're hurt. You have a big advantage when your pitching starting rotation is shutting out teams in the first 6 innings. It makes the work on the bullpen less stressful. It puts less stress on the bullpen. You know what I mean? And that's gonna help you get a long way. So when you do hit a rut in the road with your starting rotation, your bullpen is well rested, maybe not well rested, but it's not overused. It's not burnt out. So they can pick up the slack. Okay, you know what? Peterson went only with 5 innings. He struggled, but it's okay. We got the bullpen to pick him up. You know what I mean? Just an example. So that's what that's what you want. If you would like all 3 phases to be clicking at the same time, starting rotation, bullpen, and offense to be clicking, that's how you become dominant. And that's how the Dodgers won last year. All those guys, the rotation was on fire. Everyone was producing that needs to produce for them. And then the opposite happened to the Yankees. The pitching rotation was doing great, but the defense was awful. They fell apart. They had a massive explosion in the 5th inning. They blew the World Series. You know what I mean? They
Yeah,
shit the bed.
no,
You
that's
know,
exactly what happened.
and then the big guy Judge was not producing. Soto did great for them. Soto literally carried the Yankees in the postseason. But looking at the Yankees now this year, they did a smart move because all the guys they got for instead of signing Soto, they're all producing. Goldschmidt's doing well.
Everybody's doing
Bellinger's
well.
doing well. Max Fried is going to win a Cy Young with the Yankees. He's pitching today. So it worked out well for them. Everyone said, I don't know, but this is what makes the Yankees great. They're smart. Yeah, they got the money, but they're not going to just put all their eggs in one basket out of desperation because they're like, you know
They
what?
try to, Lasha.
They
Don't make
tried
them
to.
sound like they're geniuses. This is Plan B. What's working for them right now is Plan B. So that means that they have a great GM and he figured it out. It's working out,
Well,
no
they
problem. But
realized they had more
that's
holes.
not what that
They had
wasn't the
more holes to
plan though.
cover.
Yeah, but that wasn't the plan, Lasha. Let's not make it sound like they were geniuses and they say, you know what, we don't need Juan Soto after they got rid of
No,
all
they
that
offered him the
talent for
money.
him.
No,
Exactly.
no, no.
And the
They were
talent.
they were going. Yeah, they wanted him. They were gonna keep him, but they weren't gonna just continue to get outbid. They knew the Mets would outbid him to. They had a certain line, like okay, we're not going to go over 720 million. I think that's what the Mets. I think that's what the Yankees offered him, 710. And they said we're not getting anything over that. Well, the Mets went over that, so guess what? They draw a line. They're not going to just play. It's like an auction, right? If you're trying to buy a luxury, a car that you want to buy that's being auctioned, you'll keep going, but you're gonna eventually say, okay, this is my cutoff. I'm not gonna exceed this cutoff, and that's what the Yankees said. The Yankees were auctioning for Soto, and it's okay. This is our limit that we're gonna auction, and then they say, okay, we'll let you go, and we'll use that money somewhere else. Now, so far it's working. Who knows what happens if all those guys were being terrible? Then everyone would be like, "Oh my gosh, Yankees, you should have re-signed Soto." Blah 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 blah. They would be
They
killing him,
tried to, but
you
it
know.
didn't work out. But listen,
No, they tried and they offered the money. Can't say they didn't. They wanted it, but they knew they were gonna get outbid, so they had to go to Plan B. You know what I mean? But you still make the offer to him, even if you know you're gonna lose. You still make the offer to him because you know what? Maybe Steve Cohen would have been like, man, the Yankees just keep going, can't keep going away, and then it puts pressure on Soto. Like, you know what? Yankees keep me. I'm just gonna go back to the Yankees. Who knows? But that didn't happen. So, um, but who knows? Maybe all those guys the Yankees got, maybe they cool off. Maybe Schmidt doesn't do well. Maybe Bellinger doesn't do well. Maybe Fried slumps a little bit. But I don't see that happening.
nope, I
But
don't see that happening at all. But listen, they're gonna play and they're gonna make it happen. They're gonna take that division unless Boston figures it out. You guys need to jump on wild card statuses. Like you need to figure out how we're gonna get into this wild card. Boston needs to figure out how they're gonna win the division. Because if not, they're right in front of you in that wild card. They're gonna take it. But they need to figure it out. You need to figure it out. And if you both help each other in that way, you both will be in the playoffs in different situations. But let's see what happens. You need to figure out who you're getting rid of, who you're trying to get in here. How hard are you playing to try to get into the playoffs, or is it a complete wash? The Mets have to figure it out too. What are we doing? I think they have to way too much pitching. There's going to be more pitching coming in now. Who do we keep? Who do we don't keep? Like who do we get rid of? Who do we use as trade? Bait.
yeah,
I mean, I
so
don't think. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
that's okay. You don't think what?
I don't. No, go ahead. I don't think that we have what it takes to get over the hump completely in this playoff situation against the Dodgers. Not just yet.
Yeah, no, I think so. For me, I think the Mets. I don't know if it's because you don't need the offense. You know they're gonna show up. You know what I mean? You know eventually all these guys that you have will produce. Now the thing with Baltimore, what I was gonna say was Baltimore. The month of June is very crucial. If you can get to that end of June and finish above 500, I mean finish with a 500 record, like finish this month and your record is above 500, then you can determine okay where. Then to be like okay, where's our position in the wild card, and also determine whether or not okay. Then you can know for sure if you're sellers or not or buyers, because by then you have what 3 weeks in July to determine whether you're gonna be sellers or not. By then you already know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think by Baltimore, I think by the time you
You gotta
get
be
through the Detroit
500 at the end of the
series, you
month.
have to no, not by the end of the month. You have to see how you fare against Detroit. Everything else is easy prior to that, right? So like once you get past the Detroit
You
series,
got
you see,
Detroit, LA, Tampa Bay, the Yankees, and Texas,
yeah, I
and
would
Tampa
fight
Bay.
after Detroit. You should say okay, because you just finished playing Seattle, you did well. Now if you played Detroit well, because they're the best, right? Listen, we're up there as well, but Detroit has the most wins. They continue to show us why they want to be a force and stay up there, and they're gonna be in the playoffs with no problem. And they might take everything. They might be strong enough to destroy everything in their path. We don't know yet. Let's see. It's early, but not early enough to say, "Oh, my team is 13 games back. We can't make it." No, we know that you're not gonna make it. It's really hard to come back from this. But a wild card situation, no problem. I think you guys have a shot at that.
Yeah. And the hitter of the week was L.A. De La Cruz versus Kansas City. He went 2 for 4, 2 home runs, a walk, 2 RBIs, and 3 runs. In a Cincinnati 7-2 win.
Oh yeah. So if
He's
that's the
been
case,
amazing.
If
Yeah.
that's the case, I would have nominated my boy Peter Alonso last night
Yeah.
with 2 home runs. You know what I'm saying?
I was just
And
going by next. He'll be in next
I
week's
know,
edition.
no,
But
sure,
Alonzo did
so
good.
yeah, that would have been, last night. Alonso did great, bro. Like
Yeah,
his
he was
stats for
lights
last
out
night, I think I have those here,
this
obviously,
whole
because not
series.
that I'm not jumping on a Peter Alonso bandwagon. I'm just saying that he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. Last night, right? 4 at bats, 2 runs, 2 hits, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 1 strikeout, no walks. All right. In the last 7 games, 3 runs, 7 hits, 2 doubles, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. That's in the last 7 games, bro.
Yeah, he's
Okay,
been
that's
great, man.
that's crazy. So you know what, Ellie De La Cruz, I'm sorry, but you're a close second. You know what I'm saying? But you're not doing what Peter Alonso's doing right now. Peter Alonso's fighting for his life right now. He's a
Yeah,
household name in Queens. He's
he's
just doing
fighting for
what
his contract,
he's fighting for a
a
new
new
contract.
contract.
He's like, this is what I really deserve. This is how I really play when I'm not thinking about money or baseball. I'm just thinking about smashing the ball. And that's what your job is to smash the ball. That's it.
That's what they paid him for.
That's it. All right. So that's understandable. Now we're gonna get to the part of the show where I stump Lasha on a weekly basis. It's a trivia question. What pitcher has the most career no hitters? All right. What pitcher? All right. I need the name of the pitcher and how many he pulled off. No hitters? That's crazy, right? There's somebody out there that has multiple no hitters. That means that it wasn't a fluke. It just means that he's genius. You know how hard it is to pull that off? That's crazy talk, man.
Uh, yeah. So I know it's not someone recent. When I say recent, someone from like the 2010s and now, because nowadays these pitchers don't even last 5 innings. So it's got to be someone. Some guys that could come to mind. Uh, what do you call it? Strawberry, Doc Gooden, but I don't think it's them. Um,
Just take that good. Not Strawberry, because Strawberry wasn't a pitcher, but that
I
good
meant Doc
was.
Gooden.
I know
Yeah,
what you meant. I know what you
Doc
meant.
Gooden. Who else? I don't think it was Clemens or Martinez or any of those guys or David Wells. Who else? I'm trying to see.
A little further back, yeah, for sure.
Well, yeah, I gotta go further back.
First of all, you have to understand it has to be a lot further back because you already know you hate this.
Like
The
when I
fact
say
that
and I say
you know,
like in the 50s and 60s
nah,
or
see, nah,
70s.
nah, you're going okay, yeah, yeah, but because you hate the fact that if a pitcher's rolling, why take him out? You hate that. So understand this
Yeah,
is the era where there was like this guy's
they
rolling.
pitch 8 innings, 9 innings.
Exactly. This I mean, it's no hitters, right? He pitched the whole game. You know.
Yeah, and they don't do that anymore. I heard that.
Exactly. So you already know we're talking about 70s, 80s. In that area, maybe
So the only guy I
90s.
could think of is he played for the Astros. Um, he's part owner. Nolan Ryan, he was always lights out. That'd be my guess.
Wow. Hmm. All
Nolan
right.
Ryan.
All right. All right. Yeah, you got that right, sucker. Now, how many? How many? How
How
many do you
many
think?
no hitters?
Yeah,
I'm gonna go
could
with
be
15.
15. Jesus, you gave him a lot. All right. It was only 7. He was
Okay,
great. He was great, but you gave him a whole extra, 8.
extra 8.
A whole extra
But I
8,
just said that because he was really good.
Nah, he was really good. That was good, Lash. I like that. But we've come to the end of the show. There's a lot of good stuff going on out there. Listen, the Orioles need to make moves. We need to make moves. We're showing them what we have right now. Tonight, we both have a lot of great games to watch tonight. I can't wait. We both have a lot to talk about tonight. We will be texting each other and the whole clan tonight about what's
In
happening
the
on your
group chat.
side, my side,
And both of our
exactly.
games are early, so there's no going to bed early.
There's no going to bed early tonight. Tonight we play, and we shall see what happens. But we need to win tonight. It's a very important game for us. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to the fan base. It's one of those games where it's like, do we really have what it takes? This is one of those games where we have to show them that we have what it takes. You, same as well. You have to keep the streak going. You know what? 'Cause the streak tells people, all right, they did that, they did this, they did that, they did this. You
Maybe they're
need to,
starting to get hot.
receipts. You need receipts. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Listen, it's gonna be
and,
all
and,
right.
and yeah, and also you know, just because they're playing crappy teams doesn't mean it doesn't count.
Nah,
It still counts. You
it
play
counts
who's
if
in
you do the
front of
right
you.
thing. If you do the
And they
right
always
thing,
say in baseball, you gotta beat the bad teams if you want to be successful. Because if you can't beat the bad teams, you're not gonna beat the Yankees. You're not gonna beat the Mets. You're not gonna beat the Dodgers. You're not gonna beat the Braves. You're not gonna beat Detroit. If you can't beat the Colorados of the world or the White Sox, then what chance do you have against the Mets? You don't. It's just,
you're
you know what I mean?
supposed to destroy them. And
Yeah.
listen, you're doing the right thing. Everything's happening the right way. So you're playing like a high caliber club that comes in. It's like, oh, we have this team. We're supposed to destroy them. So let's destroy them. You're not winning by a lot, but you're winning the games. And if you win six in a row today, tomorrow it's seven. You know what I'm saying? This is how you got to look at things. You have to keep the ball rolling in the right direction. You never know. The Yankees might lose today. You know what I'm saying? You might jump a couple. Everybody in front of you might lose tonight, and you might win. You have to play like that. You're playing for a wild card now. You're not playing for anything else. So focus on Boston losing and focus on what's in front of you. You have to look at the division in a completely different way now. Unfortunately, but it still keeps you in the business. Look at us. We had to stay in business as a wild card. Last year, but it worked out, and look where we ended up. We ended up playing hard and doing some amazing things last year. Are we strong enough to beat the Dodgers again? To play the Dodgers. We're showing it to you right now. If we can beat them today, then what's the difference? Otani will have another 25 home runs. Alonso will have another 20 home runs. It's okay. So it'll be a better
Even if you
player.
split it, it's okay because you split
Yeah.
against a really good team. You
Yeah.
remember the purpose of road trips. You want to finish the road above 500.
Yeah. You're right.
However many you do, if you can finish, what's a 7 game road trip? Yeah, 7 games. Right, you go 4-3, you go 5-2, 6-1. I could see the Mets going 6-1 in this road trip. That's a really good road trip. You know what I mean? And then you come home and play Washington. That's
Yeah.
really good
Now, but
momentum.
Washington has good stuff going on too.
They
Washington
got
has
good
been
pitching.
playing well. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Prior to us going into that LA series, Washington won 10 out of the last 13. So they're not playing around.
They're not a bad team, no.
They're not a bad team. Okay. That's okay, God bless the Rockies for winning a series finally. After losing like 22 in a row or something like that. 22 series. That's something crazy like that.
Yeah, that is crazy.
But we came to the end of the show. I hope you enjoyed it. There's a lot of crazy madness going on right now. It's just 2 months in. We're close to the trade deadline. I can't wait to see what happens with that. We're gonna have fun with this. Tonight's, it's gonna be a great baseball night for both of us. And I hope you enjoyed this show. Peace, Lash.
Yeah, man. Good luck to the Mets.
Thank you, brother. Likewise. Good luck. BAL.